So you've got some money lying around, and rather than see that money work backwards in your savings account, you figure you should do the sensible thing and start investing. You put on Wolf of Wall Street, and all of a sudden it looks easy to turn £1,000 into £1 million. You scroll online through YouTube, Instagram, and it looks like everyone is making a killing by investing. So you do the research and realize if you'd invested £1,000 in Tesla 10 years ago, it would be 26 grand today. Or if you put £1,000 in Bitcoin 5 years ago, it would be 140 grand today. And that gets your adrenaline rushing. But then when it comes to putting your money on the line, all that what ifs start flooding in. What if you invest in something and lose everything? How do you even get started in investing to begin with? Let me share something you're probably not expecting me to say. It is 100% a good thing that you are concerned, because if something is too good to be true, it usually is, and it is far, far easier to lose money in investing than to make it, especially if you are focusing on short-term riches rather than long-term profits. The biggest problem with investing is so many people out there make it look so easy, like a get-rich-quick scheme, and in this video I'm going to share 5 ways to invest to get rich slowly. So if you want to turn £1,000 into 100,000 in a year, you might as well just turn off this video now. But if you want to invest and make a steady, secure return over many years, then smash that like button and let's get into it. The majority of us out there think if they win the lottery, that is going to be the easiest way to financial freedom. And although that obviously can help, economists studied 35,000 lottery winners and found that they ended up more likely to file for bankruptcy than people that hadn't won the lottery at all. So in reality, having the right investing mindset and strategies is key to not only getting rich to begin with, but importantly staying rich, whether you win the lottery or not. So let's get into it. Number 1, invest in yourself. When I was 22, I quit my graduate job and set up my own business with £1,500. And fast forward 12 years later, that £1,500 has turned into a multi-million pound property business and a mix of different investments. I instead could have put that £1,500 into Tesla stock 12 years ago, and that £1,500 would now be worth about 200,000, which is of course amazing, but actually the best decision I ever made was to invest that £1,500 in myself, in my dreams, in my business, because as a result, I've turned that £1,500 into millions, and even more valuable than that, I've learned a hell of a lot along the way. Now, I appreciate you may not have a business idea, or you may not even want to start a business at all. After all, I'm also aware that only 35% of businesses survive past 10 years. So I appreciate I'm in the minority that has made that work, but investing in yourself isn't just about setting up a business. Billionaire investor Warren Buffett famously said, "There's one investment that supersedes all others. Invest in yourself. Nobody can take away what you've got in yourself, and everybody has potential they haven't used yet. Your brain is a muscle that needs exercising. The more you learn, the more you earn." Number 2, debt. Now, although using good debt can make you a lot of money, to begin with, the most important thing for a beginner is to get control of bad debt. Before you start investing, start by paying off all your high interest debt. So if you have credit card bills, payday loans, expensive car loans, it is so easy to forget how high the interest rates can often be for those sorts of things. You could be paying anywhere from 8 to as much as 24% for credit card interest, for instance, which is debt that is just dragging you down and increasing your costs each month and are ruining your ability to invest in other things. Consider the average return of the S&P 500 is about 10% a year. Without doubt, you want to make sure you're paying off the debt you know will save you 8 to 24% a year over an investment that might make you 10%. You want to sort your debt out before you consider these next investment ideas. Starting with number 3, property. I love property. My main businesses are focused around property, and it isn't just me that loves property. 90% of all millionaires invest in some sort of real estate. Now, there is a lot to property investing, but I'd break the core 2 property investment strategies into 2 categories. The first is those that focus on capital appreciation. So imagine the investors that focus on buying properties as cheap as they can, adding as much value as possible to then sell them on for a profit. The second is those that focus on cash flow, so buying property that they can rent as high as possible. So often they might buy houses and split them into rooms or apartments to rent and maximize cash flow. And of course, the key is you want to do a mix of the two if you can. So for me, I focus on building a high cash flow property portfolio. However, if I come across a good property deal I can quickly flip for a profit, I will. The reality is properties that are good for flipping aren't always as good to hold for a long-term property investment because they might not rent as well, for example. Now, in reality, investing in property is difficult to make 100% passive. There's a long-winded process to buying property, managing it, selling it if you're flipping it, or renting it and managing the tenants and the whole process around that. I built a business that basically does that for me, but that took me years to put together. The next investment idea is a lot easier and more passive. Number 4, index funds. If you truly want an easy passive investment, this is a low-risk way to invest without having to really make any choices on what to buy and when. An index fund is a collection of investments that you can put your money into to own a slice of. I invest in index funds using Vanguard. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. They're not paying me to suggest them. I use them because they are a very low cost way to invest in a whole range of different index funds. So rather than investing in one stock like Apple or Microsoft, you can choose to invest in the S&P 500, which is a collection of the 500 largest listed companies in the US stock exchange, which includes the likes of Apple's and Microsoft. So rather than putting all your eggs in one basket and hoping Apple or Microsoft do well, you're putting a bet that as an average, the biggest 500 companies in the United States is going to do well, which is far, far more likely to happen, which is why on average, the S&P 500 have returned 10.4% a year since records began. But there is one final investment we should all make that goes far beyond index funds and property investments, and that is number 5, happiness. Now, I know that's corny and you're probably about to click off the video, but hear me out for a second. It's important to understand the fulfillment curve. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say money doesn't buy happiness, because in reality it does to a point. It's hard to be happy if you're fighting for survival, or if you don't have a roof over your head or enough food to eat. But there reaches a point where if you have enough comfort in your life, every additional amount you spend isn't going to have as big an influence on your fulfillment. Now, I have deliberately not included any figures on how much money that equates to, because my belief is that's going to be different for everyone. But as you start your investment journey, keep focused on your financial wealth as well as your mental health. See you in the next video.